earned during the course of the night. And once again, this harbourside centre court stadium is perfectly framed for a series of very interesting matches indeed. Diekman and Reckerman, who won in Berlin at the first Grand Slam of the year, have decided to take a little rest just to let the bodies recover, and also let a couple of German teams fight it out for the second Olympic qualification spot. So we have a Germany v Germany second semi-final, but in this first semi-final it comes down to Brazil versus Brazil. Good friends off court, I can assure you, but on court there's a few scores to be settled. Ricardo Alex Costa Santos, the 29-year-old from Salvador, will be playing with his partner Emanuel 31-year-old, who's so desperate for Olympic glory. They currently lead the World Tour standings. They're the #1 seeds at this competition, and they will be going up against the World Tour legends, the veterans. Tande, 34 years old now, and his partner Franco Jose Vieira Neto. Franco, as he's known to the fans, and let me tell you, there's plenty of Brazilian fans packed into this centre court stadium, and they've got a treat for the first semi-final up. Brazil v Brazil. Confirmation that Ricardo and Emanuel will be in the yellow tops, Tande and Franco in the blue. Tande and Franco, I always refer to as the veterans, 37 and 34 years old. But in your picture, in the glasses with the yellow cap on, his battered old yellow cap that he wears to all his World Tour events, Emanuel, his partner Ricardo, and they're waiting to go on. In the #1 vest is Franco, 37 years old, and Tande Ramos Alexandra Samuel in the #2 shirt, the Brazilian indoor star for so many years, gold medalist in Barcelona way back in 1992, till he finally gave up the indoor career and came out onto the sand. And he's been good on the sand, as Tande got to the point where he was partnered by Emanuel, but such is the Brazilian desire for a gold medal in Athens, the coaches stepped in, broke that partnership up, and Ricardo and Emanuel have ended up together and ended up as the favourites. Well, weather conditions are pretty good here in Stavanger, good enough certainly for the Brazilians not to feel too cold in this first semi-final. 18 degrees will do them fine. Confirmation, Mark Kosarin is the first referee. Did a good job yesterday in the 4th round match. We saw him referee. So out come the teams. Ricardo Alex Costa Santos, 2 meters tall, the man they call the blocking machine on the Swatch FIVB World Tour, and the man probably the most complete all-round beach volleyball athlete that we've ever seen, apart from the great Karch Kirai, Emanuel. And coming out to meet them, the left-handed power merchant Franco, always up for a fight, and joined by Alexandra Tande. We will see how the veterans go against the #1 seeds. Live coverage of the ConocoPhillips Norwegian Open men's semi-final #1 here on Eurosport, and a classic match to come up. Mouth-watering stuff. Ricardo and his partner Emanuel, the dominant team on this year's tour, up against Tande and Franco, the Swatch FIVB World Tour official veterans. Franco at 37, Tande at 34, but still playing great beach volleyball. This could go either way. Good start. And it all depends on how confidently Tande and Franco can start. If they can start well, if they can get into the faces of Emanuel and Ricardo, then Emanuel and Ricardo do have that slightly fragile feel to their mental game. I tell you, if this was the semi-final of the Olympics, Tande and Franco would really fancy it. Well, Tande is not known for his defensive ability, but he has to play there in this partnership with Franco because it's a 50-50 deal. They share the duties. And just clipping it off the hands of Ricardo and off the outside of the sideline. So a great start for Tande Franco. 2-0 in this first set, and Tande, who's usually so much more consistent on his serve, just bangs that one out the back. Tande 1.98 m tall, Franco just 1.92 m. Against the 2 meters of Ricardo and the 1.90 m of Emanuel. So some good height out of there on court, but some fantastic beach volleyball athletes. And that's the problem that Franco will have all day. He is a bit of a cross-court merchant when it comes to hitting. Emanuel and Ricardo will know that. And it looks like Emanuel and Ricardo have started with a 50-50 blocking policy as well. So Emanuel signals 2 line blocks. He'll do that all day to make sure that Tande has no options down the line. But they're going to serve Franco as much as possible by the looks of it. Franco asking for the touch. Ricardo saying doesn't touch anything on the way out. So it's definitely out. Yes, there's Franco saying it touched the block or it touched the defender, one of the two. The ball is clearly out. That's not the dispute. Although the referee is just double checking the situation. And the linesman getting pretty irate there. Well, the official's not quite picking up on what Franco was asking for. He was asking that the ball had touched someone. Well, that decision has been given. It didn't touch anything. It's gone out of court. And it's another point to the #1 seeds. So we're ready to get going again. You're watching Eurosport, Europe's #1 sports channel, live coverage from the Swatch FIVB World Tour. Just a little dispute going on here about who touched what. It's finally resolved, and that start from Tande and Franco is cancelled out until that. The wait just a little too long for Ricardo. Lost his concentration on serve. Now, I thought it was a good idea just to check out the statistics to see if Tande and Franco are indeed the oldest volleyball team to hit the sand. And Franco at 37, certainly the oldest player currently on the tour. Good finish cross-court from Emanuel. But officially, the oldest player ever to play Swatch FIVB World Tour event is Sergei Ergurov from Russia, who allegedly was 56 years old when he competed on a tour event back in around about 1993. So Franco's got another 20 years ahead of him. And playing like that, you wouldn't bet against it either. I wonder which Brazilian team the Brazilian fans are supporting. Emanuel looking imperious at the moment. When he was partnered with Tande back in 2002 before the split, they won here in Stavanger. So both Tande and Emanuel obviously crowd favourites. But it must be something about Stavanger that Emanuel likes. I know he likes jumping off this gravelly type of sand that they use on the harbour-side man-made courts. Because in 2003, with Ricardo, he won again. So this is a happy hunting ground for Emanuel, and he's looking to make it 3 Stavanger titles in a row. 5-all in the first set. The #1 seeds, Ricardo and Emanuel, in the yellow tops, playing steady, but Tande and Franco there or thereabouts. Great blocking, and Ricardo, it was only a matter of time before he got on the cross-court shot of Franco, and Franco now has to think about what he's going to do to change. He's not the best line hitter, and Tande is not the best setter, so that's going to be a problem. Oh, it's too good. Really is too good. And Emanuel has come out in great form on court. You know when he's playing well because he's so still in the air at everything he does. He just does it with control. Is there anyone better to watch on a beach volleyball court? I don't think so. It will be Emanuel to serve yet again. The cat, as he's known amongst the other players, because of his feline movements in defence. So fast, so graceful, so powerful. Good shot. Well, that's how they're going to deal with it by the looks of it. And fair play to Tande and Franco. Having been stuffed cross-court, Franco said, right, give me the ball wide, but give it quick and flat, and let's make the big boy move. Let's see if the bad boy of blocking, Ricardo, can get himself across the net in time to stop me. And then I don't have to hit right onto the line. It opens up the court for me. And it worked on that occasion. So a nice little contest developing between Franco and Ricardo. And another cross-court dig for Tande, and he's got Emanuel's number at the moment. That's better. That's better from Tande. Played in the opposite power-hitting position indoors, so this is a very familiar shot for him. As you can see, he hits it with very little care and attention because he knows there's not many people are going to stop him. Tande not making the cross-court dig on that occasion, but he got another touch, and Emanuel varying the pace of his shots very nicely. Doesn't hit this one as hard, so he just drops it down with more angle in front of Tande rather than hitting it straight on to his defensive stance. So at the moment, Emanuel and Ricardo just have the edge in this first set. You feel that Tande and Franco are having to work pretty hard to stay with them. Good finish by Emanuel outside. He had no right to hit that shot. But because he fixes his point in the air so well, because he stays so still, look how still he is just before he hits the ball. That is just beautiful. And Tande just throws out a football-style kick at it, gets nowhere near it. Crowd realising they're seeing a very high quality of beach volleyball here in this first semi-final. Good shot. Franco working it off the hands of Ricardo. And some more great volleyball to come. The second semi-final coming up live after the Olympic torch relay will be between the two German teams that are battling it out for the second Olympic qualification spot. Niklas Rademacher and his partner David Klemperer up against Christoph Diekmann, the brother of Marcus Diekmann, and his partner Andy Schörpflug, another veteran on this Swatch FIVB World Tour. So two fascinating semi-finals for you on Eurosport. It's been a bumper weekend of volleyball so far. Not quite the standard and excitement that I think we had at Starten in Berlin. But you got a feeling that's going to pick up today. Ricardo jackknifing on that cross-court shot, but he's missed it. Tande dashing away to the timeout area to make sure there's not too much debate over that shot. And the team in blue are back in contention. So our first technical timeout at 21 points in this match. Technical timeouts are called by the referees. They will always happen at 21 points in the set. And they are there to divide this set into two distinct halves. I suspect to give some opportunity for a bit of music for the crowd, bit of sponsor integration. But the players certainly don't disapprove of it. Show us your moves, Franco. Well, I'm sure Franco's been showing a few moves at the nightclub. But on court, he's still got a few as well. And the Vikings are out in force. It's a great old fishing port. The tournament site is in the old town. And all around Stavanger, you can see Viking artifacts, a very clear link to the past. So the team's back onto court. Tande will have the serve, and he and Franco have wrestled the lead back temporarily. Strictly temporarily. Great shot through the middle of court from Ricardo. Just look at the amount of adjustments that are going on for Ricardo and Emanuel to the equipment. Hats, glasses being fiddled about with, and that for me is a sign of nerves for these two, and they are a nervy team. You can't get away from that. It's not 13-11, it's 11-all. And there's the problem that you have when you play that 50-50 defence and you ask your big blocker to go and do some backcourt work. When you come up against the experience of the likes of Franco, he knows where Ricardo is in defence. He knows that Ricardo can't move forwards quickly, and it's just a case of whether he goes left or right. Takes the block out of the equation, and I think Emanuel and Ricardo are going to have to think about that. He's missed again. Well, the linesperson taking his time, and then suddenly remembering the ball was out. That could have caused a bit of an argument. So Ricardo has started pretty poorly on offence in this semi-final. They made 5 out of 5 in their opening set of tournaments. Then they missed one tournament, took a little break, came back, and they haven't made a final since. It's up, it's got to come. And a panicky shot from Franco. Very good play from Tande to keep that in the rally. But because it had been touched on the block by Franco, it counted as one of the 3 touches. Just catches the back of the ball, but that kept it alive. Good touch. Indoor style dive from Tande. Old habits die hard, I guess. Great stuff. Ricardo may be having a poor time on offence, but one thing never changes. The man is a blocking machine. Franco shaking his head. How does he get past the big man on a consistent basis? Can he get past the big man? 13-all. He's done it again. And for all Franco's genius, for all his high jumping power, when the ball is tight enough, Ricardo is reaching over and grabbing it, and Franco just saying, it's my mistake to Tande. Well, it's not a mistake, it's just great blocking. And that's poor setting. Finished off, the big throwdown, the rejection from Ricardo. Did I mention he's a blocking machine? It's incredible, absolutely incredible. So 3 straight stuff blocks from Ricardo. Takes Ian Emanuel into a commanding lead. The crowd now have really kicked into action for this match. They understand what's at stake out there on court. They understand that in this Brazil versus Brazil game, there's a bit of honour here at stake. Well, clever stuff. Tande getting the ball this time, running round on the reverse to hit that. So maybe a slight serving error from Emanuel. Should have found Franco again, I think. Franco having been stopped 3 times. But off the hook. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to watch. Very clear chance now emerging from the crowd. Ricardo, Emanuel. The Brazilian team that this crowd seems to be supporting Emanuel in his effort to win for a 3rd time. Franco says it's in, and Tande and Franco, in fact, have switched sides. The left-hander would normally play on the right side. That's not unusual for Franco to be there, but he's changed to left side now on side out. It looks as if what they're trying to do is open up the cross-court angle for Franco back across his body, which allows him a more effective line hit. He's a much better line left side than he is line right side. So already the old boy's making a few intelligent changes. Ricardo having to vary his shots, having to bring them back in and shorter because he's missed 2 out of the back now. So that brings the ball into play for the defender. It also brings the ball into play for Tande. Let's not count Tande out of the block yet. He's one of these guys who just looks like he never gets out of first gear, but every so often he will put his back into a jump and really get up there and make a stuff block, and he's one of the players that could stop Ricardo. They've got another opportunity. That was weak at the net. That was weak from Tande. Thank goodness someone decided to apply the hammer. I've often had this thought, just a little theory of mine, that Emanuel is so good that he actually gets bored, and that's not disrespectful to the other teams on the tour, I promise you. He's just so talented that he kind of drifts with his concentration during games sometimes. But when he is on his game, he is unstoppable. So time out to Tande and Franco. The team in your picture in the yellow shirts, the #1 seeds. 5 finals out of 5 events at the start of this year. Total of 3 wins so far. Looking to make it win #4. Against the team in the blue vest, they have had a win this year in Cape Town, in South Africa. Well, the show us your move Franco fans haven't had that much to cheer about at the moment. Franco's been stopped pretty consistently by Ricardo, hence the change of sides for Tande and Franco, and that's been a reasonable move, but must be a bit like trying to stop a steam train when Ricardo and Emanuel hit form. And there's a real feeling that they've tried to be more aggressive in their games this year, but they still have that slight fragile feel to their game that you just think if other teams can get stuck into them, give them a bit of hassle, then Ricardo and Emanuel do sometimes crumble. Clever. 2 hands held up by Franco. So Emanuel couldn't really get a read on where the ball was going, and at the last second, just left hand cut shot cross court. Now Tande has to get his serve going here. He's got to start working this big, flat, heavy serve of his. Well, if we see a replay on that, then we will see Emanuel getting head and shoulders over the top of the net. And when you are down beside the court, if you ever get a chance to watch Emanuel live on this Swatch FIVB tour, then I suggest you get as low as you can in the stand and as close to the court as you can, and then sit there and marvel at how high he jumps. Good finish. Franco's got himself a nice little side-out run here. Let's hope for their sake so that it's not too little too late. Emanuel claims that he only has a jump of 3 meters and 4. I say only 3 meters and 4 on his block, but his spike reach, for a man that's only 1.90 meter tall, his spike reach is around about 3.30, which means off the sand, we're talking measurements off the sand here, he can slam dunk a basketball with ease. So the opportunity to go into a 1 set to love lead is there for the #1 seeds. And a great block. And Franco deciding to stare Emanuel down there. Just thought he'd go for a bit of afters. But just watch how quickly Emanuel turns away from this confrontation. Bang, it's down, fine, that's okay, it's over. Let's walk away from it. That's interesting, very interesting. Let's see if Tande can put some pressure on here. Still 2 set points. No surprise, they've gone to Emanuel again. It's alive, good shot required here. Good shot, delivered. And there is the fragility of Ricardo and Emanuel's game. This is a set that they should have buried. And all of a sudden, they have to think about it. Right on the line from Tande. Now, what will Tande do? Will he put it in play, or will he go for the big one? And he's going to have 30 seconds to think about it, because Ricardo and Emanuel have used their experience and call a timeout. Always so easy to just let the play flow away. There's a lot of bravado in men's beach volleyball where people will say, no, let's carry on, we've got to carry on, we've got to make the side out, I'm fine. But you watch the experienced heads in this game and you will see that as soon as the pressure's on, as soon as it gets tough, they will call a timeout, stop it, go back, swallow their pride, think about what's happening on court, and then try to restart. You notice a couple of drum kits there on either side of the stage. They've been bought in since yesterday. Idea that there's going to be some sort of samba feel to this whole day. Well, there will be, providing that Ricardo, Emanuel, Tande and Franco don't destroy them with their spiking at some stage. That's happened before, believe me. So Tande's had 30 seconds to cool off, and I'll ask the question again. What's he going to do? Is he going to put it in play, or is he going to go for the ace? Puts it in play. It's game on. It is game on here in the first set. And that is the worst shot I've seen Emanuel hit since I've been commentating on beach volleyball. I can say that. Well, a smile from him, because he's just given another souvenir ball to the crowd. Didn't even touch the sand. 20 points all. We're going to play on to 2 clear. And Tande and Franco are masters at doing this. And that's what Emanuel meant to do. And but for the lay of the sand there and a slight footprint taking it off course, that would have come off the sand and bounced high away into the grandstand, the VIP area. Ricardo then. Does he go for the ace or put it in play? And he's gone for it. Good pass from Franco. What's he got? And Franco's been read. This is it. Set point. And it's down. So Ricardo and Emanuel make heavy work of it in the end, but close out that first set. 22 points to 20, and the number 1 seeds go into a 1 set to lead. Love to lead here in this semi-final. We'll be back shortly.
They have waited for centuries to find themselves where it all began. Olympic Games. Nothing stays the same when a legend comes alive.
Long time coming, it's been a long long time coming, yeah, I'm gonna hold on to
You missed none of the action. Straight back at the start of the second set. Ricardo and Emanuel lead by 1-0. That's what I was trying to say before the break. And a good start from Franco. It's funny how these points occur just seconds after you wished they'd happened. Franco got that block earlier on, then it would have been a very different story in this semi-final. But it's no surprise to see the veterans getting so close to Ricardo and Emanuel. They know their games so well, they train so much together. Although having said that, Ricardo and Emanuel have moved their operation up to João Pessoa in the north of Brazil, near to where Ricardo originates from, in Salvador. Decided they wanted to take their families back there, just try and keep everything quiet in the build-up to the Olympics, give themselves time away from the media glare of the beaches in Rio. And a mistake. Tande having to make quite a large adjustment to get to that set from Franco, realising that the line was covered by Ricardo, so he had to go big time. And the earphones on for the little uns, that's a good idea, because it really is deafening in this stadium when it gets going. The music is very loud. The crowd is even louder. Franco flirting with the line. But you just feel when a player is resorting to shots so much, and let's remember Franco, having been stopped 3 times on the block by Ricardo, has done nothing but shoot the ball since then. Let's remember that when you are shooting the ball, you have to favour the defender eventually. Now there's a shot. Big smile from Emanuel. That was lovely. There are some shots in beach volleyball in certain circumstances that are just literally unplayable, and that is one of them. A good line shot deep. That really is a point winner. Good serve. Oh, massive from Ricardo, right into the chest of Franco. And there's the aggression that Ricardo and Emanuel have talked about getting into their game. And at key points during the match, they are trying to be tough and trying to be hard to their competitors, and that's just what Ricardo has done. Tries it again and just misses. So, change of ends at 7 points in these rally point sets to 21. Nowadays, with the way these stadiums are built up, the conditions, the weather conditions, very rarely affect it, anything down on court. Shielded from the wind. It's usually just the direction of the sun that can play some sort of part. And again, he finds that line shot with ease. Tange's defensive frailties on show there. This is always the danger time for Ricardo and Emanuel, I feel. We saw a slight lack of concentration at the end of the first set. They have to keep that concentration intact. And where other teams this year have been concentrating their service efforts on Ricardo, I'm thinking particularly Diekman and Reckerman, they love serving Ricardo. Hasn't done him much good this year, having said that, but that's the player they go for. Tande and Franco very much focusing their efforts on Emanuel. When he gets it right, it's good, isn't it? Tande with a very heavy shot cross court. And that's the way you should be. When you've got your smaller blocker in front court, you've got the bigger guy defending, you should be more confident on your side out hits. You should hit with less restriction on what you're doing, because they have to come up with pretty special plays to make the shot. Good serve. They've gone on Ricardo finally. I think they'll be reconsidering that decision in future. Ricardo, who had a few messy hits in that first set before they left him alone on serve, now found his rhythm, found the groove. So Emanuel, the 31-year-old, originally from Curitiba in Brazil, serves out. That's a massive leap from Ricardo and just hammers it off the hands of Tande. No dispute at all from Tande. This is a very good game. Very intense down there on the sand, and we haven't seen the kind of wild diving rallies that we saw in previous weeks. But that is purely and simply because the standard of the beach volleyball is so high. And what the players are doing, as you should do in beach volleyball, is they're making their side outs first time, giving very little opportunity to the defenders. And when the defensive team does make the play, it's usually been through a block. That's an indication that both teams are in full hitting gear. So Tande to serve. They trail by 1. And they trail by 1 set to love in the match. Emanuel off the block. Franco has looked distinctly under par in this match. He cannot find a way past Ricardo. How far did Ricardo drop that inside hand to make the cross-court play? So what does Franco do? I think I'd like to see him hitting a straighter ball right through the arms of Ricardo, just to get Ricardo a bit more honest, because Ricardo's splitting his block by a mile. Let's see what he does. It's out. Well, he tried it, but it came back again. And Ricardo closed his arms, maybe in anticipation of that middle shot. But it was a line attempt, really, by Franco. So trouble here for Franco. What does he do? 4 points the cushion for the #1 seeds. Well, great stuff. When you sit and watch these games, you say, well, why don't they just hit the ball with a little bit more height on it? Why don't they just get it up and over the top of Ricardo? Why do they keep hitting his hands? And it's not until you're out on court with these guys that you suddenly realise just how high in the air they are getting. And if you roll it up that high in the air to get it over him, then Emanuel will just walk round and play the ball. He will have so much time, and that's the value of having a blocker like Ricardo on your side. And finally, Franco gets one down. Now, will that mean a switch? Because he hit that one from the right side of court, so maybe we'll see Franco and Tande switching back to their original court positions. We'll see. Only in Stavanger. They have a very unusual taste in stadium music here. You get a bit of everything, including Bob the Builder. 11-9. 2 points is a handy cushion at this time. And that's reduced to 1. And just a few messy passes from Ricardo and Emanuel in recent points. It's that same thing again, isn't it? It's that same loss of concentration, having breezed into a commanding lead. So technical timeout at 21 points and a chance for both teams to consider what's going to happen for the rest of this second set. Franco in your picture, been on this world tour almost longer than anyone else. And he actually played in the original set of World Championships with his great former partner Roberto Lopez. Got a run of 3rds and 5ths, never quite got to the final in the big World Championships, but has been involved with FIVB International Volleyball now since 1987. Started as a very, very young man indeed, as a teenager, and has been consistent through then. And had a fantastic run with his former partner Roberto Lopez back in the mid-90s. For a short time they were the dominant force, winning 10 tournaments, but then just started to fade with their partnership, and since then Franco has played with a number of different players, but he's continued to win tournaments now and again, so it's not out of the question that he should win here. You just feel that Emanuel's pedigree on the sand at Stavanger will be the deciding factor in this match. The defending champions from 2003, Ricardo and Emanuel, looking good. We've already had one set of previous winners take a title here. The 2002 champions McPeak and Youngs of the USA took the women's title. Well played, Ricardo. After 2 very fine pieces of defence cross-court. These players know each other so well. They go and stand right in the place where they favour their hits. But a great decision from Ricardo to go quick on the second ball. So 13-11, some cushion restored for the number 1 seeds. Block of Ricardo diverting the ball, and Franco having a little chat with Emanuel. That's the player that they're going to try and go after. As I said, great friends off court, but no love lost on the sand. This is all business now. And you get the feeling that Franco maybe can't do as much with his game as he'd like to, doesn't have the ability anymore to make the ball do the talking as much as he used to, so he has to do a bit of the talking as well. Chances. Chose to go one-handed for the ball and just couldn't get the control that he needed. So Ricardo makes another play. Waiting for the signals from Emanuel. He's not telepathic, I can assure you. He wasn't not bothering to signal because he knew the ball was going in the net. He was simply suggesting that he was going to take the ball, wherever the ball was, he was going to try and put his hands around the ball, and Ricardo really had a free rein to do what he wanted in defence. Good chase. Well, Franco suddenly realised that ball was in the air a long time. Strong left arm, couldn't quite bring it back into play. And the Norwegian samba continues. It's a slightly disjointed rhythm, let me tell you. Not quite the same flair as you would get in the Copacabana Stadium in Rio de Janeiro, which is where the closing tournament of this season will be. Hosted the World Championships there last year. Net touch from Ricardo. Disappointment for Emanuel because he made a good pickup. Good height again from Emanuel. And Ricardo just acknowledging that his set drifted inside a little bit, so Emanuel made a good shot here. Good set though from Ricardo under pressure. I don't know what he was saying to Emanuel after that. Nearly, so nearly from Emanuel. This game's settled into a very nice rhythm here. Game for the purists, really. Been a lot of first-time kills. So 2 line blocks signalled by Franco. They've gone to Ricardo again. So they've been trying him out now and again on not a particularly regular basis. Emanuel's been getting most of the serves, but Ricardo has found a groove on his hit now. Don't think he's going to be bumped out of that. This is the area where Ricardo and Emanuel have struggled traditionally. It's time to close the match out. It's time to finish the deal off. And they don't always do that. Franco looking like everybody was going line there. He really thought he was on the line for this shot. And then a lovely little change back across court. Completely fooled Emanuel. It's 2 line blocks again. This time it'll be Tande, and Ricardo again gets the attention of the servers. But Ricardo's on his game at the moment. I really think unless you're going to pressure Ricardo with a serve that moves him around, then there's very little point in serving the big man. Again, Ricardo caught short in defence. Franco stalks off around the outside of the net in a very deliberate display there. Went out of his way not to tap hands with Emanuel and Ricardo, and Franco is working himself up into a bit of a fever pitch down there on court. He still wants this match, and that's what it comes down to sometimes, who wants this game the most. And once again, Ricardo and Emanuel, from a commanding position, have allowed Tande and Franco to get close to them. It's not good business. Well, they do go back to Emanuel, and Emanuel hits sensibly. Good set from Ricardo. That allows him to get out of the sand and above the block of Franco. And with a good solid smash over the top of the ball, using his wrist to great effect there. Not the full swing, that was the half swing shot. Just knocked it down the line for the point. So a big serve here for Emanuel and for the other side. And it's a good serve. Off the hands. Franco goes high. I told you the music mix was eclectic in this centre court stadium. Una Paloma Blanca, I think that's called. Goodness knows why that came back to me. Bit of Eurovision glory there. all means absolutely nothing to the players on court. They are away with this match, completely caught up in the intensity of the battle. 18-19, Franco and Tande trail. And Emanuel finishes this game as he started it, in commanding form. The heads go down. Tande and Franco look like a beaten team now. But they looked like that in the first set, and they came back to draw level at 20 all. So match ball. Ricardo to serve, 20-18. Pressure here for Tande. It's alive still. Oh my goodness, well played. Brilliant stuff from both teams to keep that ball alive. And then the big shot from Ricardo to finish. And a disappointing end to what has been a pretty good tournament for Franco. Looks like he's got a bit of a problem there with his shoulder. But it always hurts more when you lose. 22-20, 21-18. The number one seeds, Ricardo and Emanuel, advance through to the final. And they will meet one of two German teams. That game will be coming up live on Eurosport very shortly. Just after the Olympic torch relay, where we'll have an interesting competition between two of the slightly lesser known German teams.